I'm sitting here today with Jordan Dubin from Guild Garage Group, which is an investment firm dedicated to the garage door industry. We were talking today a lot about branding. I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about how that's played a role in some of your strategic decisions and who you're looking to partner with.
The residential services industry has changed a lot over the last couple of years. HVAC was obviously a pioneer in that movement, led the charge, plumbing and electrical shortly thereafter. But if you look at the transition that a lot of these residential service companies have made, digitalization is important, best practices are important, but at the top of the list too is branding. A brand, as you know better than I, means everything to the end consumer. It establishes connection that allows you to know what the company stands for and what type of service you're going to get. And so I think for myself and my partners, when we were going to create Guild and we were going to come together to find truly the best operators, the best owners in the garage door industry and put them all under one roof, that being Guild, one of the first criteria we looked at is who's leaned into branding, who has either worked with KickCharge or is in the process of eventually working with KickCharge. And while it may seem like a small trivial detail, there really was logic behind it, which is if you had an owner that had leaned into his or her branding over time and had understood the importance of what that does in the residential garage door repair industry, chances are you were doing other things great. And so we saw this correlation where if you found these unique players that had converted to ServiceTitan, had worked with KickCharge, it was a group of differentiated, fast-growing, special players in the industry. Branding was certainly not lost on us. In fact, it was almost a prerequisite, a criteria for, is this a company we think could be value added towards Guild?
So that just blows my mind, because it's like, imagine specifically looking for companies that have a KickCharge brand because you know that they're doing a lot of the other things well. Talk to me a little bit about even what you've been able to see as far as evaluations.
It's not a coincidence that the businesses that have next level branding, that have their entire fleets wrapped, that have standardized, clean looking uniforms with a cohesive message, get better valuations. The reason being, it works, it helps. I think your website does a great job of showing the organic growth profile post-branding, post-rebranding of a lot of businesses, and how that translates to kind of my side of the ecosystem is we want the businesses that are growing organically at double-digit rates year over year. And so, I'm not going to sit here and say rebranding or branding is the reason you get a higher valuation. What branding does to the underlying performance of the business certainly is the reason you get a higher valuation. And I think it's undeniable.
I'm sure you also probably notice a correlation between marketing spend for the companies with really, really bad brands versus the marketing spend for companies with great brands, and even the corresponding growth for those companies.
100%. I think we think about marketing, the marketing spend as a percentage of revenue as a happy medium. We like to see companies that are high single digits to maybe even 10 or 11% of total revenue. Anything below that, you're not optimizing the power of the brand. You're not leaning into marketing as a way to drive value for your company. And anything above that, high teens, let alone even in 20%, we view that as something's not working organically. And more often than not, Dan, that's because they don't have a powerful brand. And instead they're spending ridiculous sums of money on pay-per-click and other forms of revenue that you're basically just buying. If I had to design in a lab, kind of, at least from my seat, a top functioning company, it would be a high single digit company that really isn't spending a lot on pay-per-click, but instead has an awesome brand and is relying on brand recognition, is high up in terms of GMB status, leaning into LSA, SEO optimization, functioning well because of the brand, because of the messaging that the brand evokes. So it really is a happy medium, and I think I almost view it as you have to go through the J-curve, you have to spend upfront invest in your brand so that you have returns in the long run.
Well, listen, thank you so much for stopping by today. Really appreciate that, and can't wait to see what you guys are up to in the future.
Yeah, can't wait to work together.
Thanks, man.